Good morning, friends. Today we are going to continue the chapter number 12, electricity. Let us recall what we did in the last chapter. In the last chapter, we had done two formulas. I is equal to Q upon T and V is equal to W upon Q. I hope you remember both these formulas. I is equal to Q by T. What is the definition? The net charge passing through the cross-section area of a conductor in unit time is the electric current. I is equal to Q upon T. And we have seen in metals, the charge is due to the free electrons which carry the negative charge. Secondly, we had done electric potential. I hope you remember I had given the example of compressing a spring. When we compress a spring, we are losing energy and the spring gains energy. In a similar way, when a charge is taken from infinity to a given point in an electric field, it gains some potential. That potential provides energy for all the electrons to flow in the same direction, giving rise to electric current. Now let us go further for today. So here we have the diagram for Ohm's law. Now, as you can see in the diagram, we have got a battery. This battery provides the necessary potential for the electrons to flow in one direction. And the electrons which are flowing per unit time is given by the ammeter, which gives us the measure of the current. Now the electric current is flowing in the circuit, and as you can see, it is passing through this material given here. Now the battery has got a potential V, and that potential is measured by the voltmeter, which is connected in parallel to this device. Okay. Now why is this important? It is because we are going to see something new. When we pass some voltage through a material, yes, the current and the potential applied has got a relation. So let us see what the relation is. Now look at the table and the graph below. When this battery is providing 10 volt, then the ammeter is showing a current of 2 ampere. Try to understand this. When this battery is providing a voltage of 10 volt, then see, this is the potential, 10 volt is here. So that potential is making the electrons flow through this material. And the current flowing through this material is measured by the ammeter, which is shown as 2 ampere. Now when I increase the voltage to 20 volt, the potential is shown in the voltmeter as 20 volt, and the current now has become 4 ampere. So what you can see here, as I keep on increasing the voltage, the current is also increasing. Yes, and when we plot a graph, see, for 10 volt we have a current of 2 ampere. For 20 volt we have a current of 4 ampere, shown by these 2 points. Similarly, a current of 30 volt will give us a current of 6 ampere. So what you can notice is a straight line. Yes, it is a straight line. So here you can observe that the voltage and the current, are directly proportional. What does it mean? It means as you keep on increasing the voltage, the current increases simultaneously. So what is the rate of the increase in current as we increase the voltage? So this is a very important step in Ohm's law. What we have noticed, can you see the circuit diagram again? What you have noticed, that as we increase the battery from 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 volt, the current is also linearly increasing and it is forming a straight line. So this is what is Ohm's law. So let us now move to the theoretical definition of Ohm's law and remember this circuit. So the circuit is here again, and what we can see, the electric current is directly proportional to the potential difference. Means when we are drawing the graph, of voltage versus current, we get a straight line. Means as we are increasing the voltage, the current is also increasing. Yes, the straight line, this straight line indicates that the current is directly proportional to the voltage or the voltage is directly proportional to current. We can write it as V equal to IR, where R is the constant of proportionality. What does it mean? It means, you can see this symbol here, it stands for proportionality. V is proportional to I. Okay, so if the current is increasing regularly with the increase in voltage, we write V is equal to IR, where R is a constant given by any number. This R is called the resistance of a conductor. Now what is resistance? It is the property of a conductor. It is the property of a conductor to resist the flow of current or resist the flow of charges. Yes. What does it mean? If your conductor has high resistance means when you apply voltage, the current will not increase very much because of the high resistance. It is preventing from the charges to flow. It is resisting the flow of charges. So even by increasing the voltage, the current does not increase very much. I'll show by an example. Then we have a line like this. We will have a line like this. You see the line. What you can see, I have increased the voltage so much. The voltage is increased too much, but the current has only increased this much. Now I take a substance with lesser resistance and I apply the same voltage. When I apply the voltage, the current is increasing. Can you see? So here what has happened, I have increased the voltage very less, but the current has increased too much. So you can see now the material in green has low resistance, red has medium resistance, and blue has a very high resistance. But they all are proportional. So we have the Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. This law is called the Ohm's law. Yes, and the formula now for R. How do we find the R? We have to see the change in V with respect to change in I. How much the voltage is increasing, we have increased, and how much the current is increasing. If with lesser voltage, the current increases too much, means the resistance is low. If with more voltage, the current doesn't increase too much, it means the resistance is high. So this is our Ohm's law. Will you remember the Ohm's law? So in the diagram you can see the green color is low resistance because with less voltage we have got high current, and blue is high resistance because with more voltage we have got less current. So Ohm's law is a very important law, and I hope you understood. So again, look at the diagram. We have got the battery. Yes, the battery provides the potential to the resistance, and we measure the current passing through the circuit. So as you increase the voltage, the current also increases. This is Ohm's law. So if 1 volt if potential difference is 1 volt, if you apply 1 volt potential and the current is 1 ampere, then by formula we have the resistance is 1 ohm. So you know the formula, I is equal to V upon R or V equal to IR. So what you can notice here, current through the resistor is inversely proportional. What does inversely proportional mean? If R will increase, then I will decrease. If R will decrease, then I will increase. Yes. For a constant voltage, with the increase in resistance, the current decreases. With the decrease in resistance, the current increases. So, if the resistance is doubled, the current becomes half. So sometimes we have resistances which have got a fixed value, and sometimes we have variable resistance which can be changed. For example, a fan regulator. Have you seen a fan regulator? When you increase the fan regulator, you're actually decreasing the resistance, so the current increases and the fan moves faster. Now, back to our diagram we have done before. Motions of electrons in an electric circuit. So what is the electric current? It is the motion of the electrons. But why we have introduced this here again, you have to see the electrons are not completely free to move. Why are they not free to move? Because you have got positive charge atoms. Can you see this orange dot? The positive charge atoms, the electrons collide with them. Because they collide with them, they cannot move freely. They will collide while moving with the atoms. And secondly, these atoms are very closely packed. The diagram does not show, but the atoms are very closely packed. The more they are closely packed, the more difficult for the electrons to flow. So, the resistance of a material depends upon two things: the number of free electrons, yes, and how much it is restrained by the attraction of the atoms when they move. So, a conductor having appreciable resistance is called a resistor. Those who got high resistance is a poor conductor, also called an insulator, and those who have got less resistance is called a conductor. Now here are some symbols. The symbol of an electric cell, the symbol of a combination of cells called a battery. This is an open key, this is a closed key, this is a wire joint, the two wires are joined here, this is a wire without joining, this is the electric bulb, this is a resistance, this is a variable resistance, the ammeter connected in series and the voltmeter connected in parallel. Okay. So now you understand what resistance is. Resistance is a property of the material which prevents the flow of electric current. Now we'll see on what factors does the resistance of a conductor depend upon. Now study this diagram well. What have we got in the diagram again? We have a battery. Current is flowing through the battery from positive to negative. You can see positive. It goes from positive. It reaches the key K. It moves from this black dot to this white dot. And again, the circuit is complete. Okay. Now we start. Look at case number 1. We have got a thin wire placed here. When the key is put in, measure the current. What is the current in the ammeter? Measure it. Now, let us go to case number 2. For case number 2, you have to remove this wire number 1, and put this wire number 2. How you put it? The black dot should come on the black dot, and the white dot should come over the white dot. Okay? Now what you can see in the diagram, the wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 1 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 1 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 1 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 1 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire number 2 has got the same thickness. The wire num and same material of wire number 1, but it is double in the length. Case 2 has got the wire doubled in length. Now when this wire 2 was put in place of 1, what was observed? It was observed that the current became half. The current became half. So if the current has become half, means the resistance has become doubled. The resistance has doubled. So what you can see here, by increasing the length of the wire, we have increased the resistance. So increasing the length of the wire indicates the increase in resistance. How did we find out? When we replace this wire 2, the wire 2 which is double in length than wire 1. When we replace wire 2 with wire 1, wire 1 with wire 2, when the length became double, the current became half. The current became half means the resistance became double. So we can see here, by increasing the length, the resistance has increased. So resistance is directly proportional to the length. It means when you increase the length of the wire, the resistance will increase. Now look at case number 3. Case number 3 has got a wire of the same length of wire 1. But case number 3, the wire is thicker than wire 1. It means the cross section of the wire has increased. It is like having a thin pipe and a thick pipe. In a thick pipe, you are increasing the cross section area. So case 3, the wire is thicker than the wire 1. So we are replacing wire 3 with wire 1. What is observed? That the current has become double. What is the meaning of the current has become double? Current has become double means the resistance has become half. Resistance has become half. So what you can observe here, when we increase the thickness of the wire, the resistance decreased. So resistance is inversely proportional to A. Again, resistance was directly proportional to the length. If you can notice, directly proportional to the length, but resistance is inversely proportional to the area. Means when we increase the length, the resistance increases. But with the increase in area, the resistance decreases. So resistance is inversely proportional to area and directly proportional to the length. In case 4 we have, I move to case 4, we have got the wire same as 1. You can see the wire in case 1 and case 4 are both the same. Yes, but they are of different material. Say wire 1 is zinc and wire 4 is copper or aluminium. So the resistance in the current in the both the cases was different, means the resistance is also changing. So now we have 4 cases and combining that. So we had the case 1, R is directly proportional to length and R is inversely proportional to the area. Combining both, we have R is proportional to L by A. So we write R is equal to rho L by A, where rho is the constant of proportionality and depends upon the type of material, like we saw in case number 4. 4 aluminum and copper maybe. Yes. So now we have got the formula for resistance. R is equal to rho L upon A. So now we see the factors again. The resistance of a conductor depends upon the length. R is directly proportional to A. The cross section, R is inversely proportional to A. R is proportional to 1 upon A. The nature of the material, rho. So we have R equal to rho L by A. So the factors are now resistance depends upon the length, the cross section and the material. The SI unit of resistivity, that is rho, is ohm meter. How do we get that? Resistance is given in ohm, length is given in meter, area in meter square. So the square and meter cuts, and when this goes in multiplication, we have rho equal to ohm into meter. That is the unit of resistivity. So again, resistivity does not depend on the length. Remember, it is the resistance which depends upon the length, the area of cross section and the material. Resistivity does not depend upon length, does not depend upon shape, does not depend. Remember again, resistivity does not depend. What depends? Resistance depends. Resistivity does not depend on length, on shape or on area of cross section. Resistivity only depends upon the nature of the material. The nature of the material. That's it. So, metals and alloys have low resistivity, means high conductivity. The metals and alloys have low resistivity, which means they have high conductivity. They are good conductors in the range of 10 raised to minus 8 ohm meter to 10 raised to minus 6 ohm meter. Insulators. Insulators like rubber and glass have high resistivity. So they are insulators. 10 raised to 12 ohm meter or 10 raised to 17 ohm meter. Now there are some examples for you to see. Alloys. What are alloys? The mixture of metals in a proportion, in a definite proportion are alloys. They do not burn easily at high temperatures. So because they do not burn at high temperatures, they are used in heating devices like electric iron, toasters. For example, nichrome is an alloy of nickel, iron, chromium and manganese. It does not burn even at high temperatures, so it is used in heaters. Tungsten is another alloy, is used in electric bulb because it does not burn even at high temperatures. So tungsten is a filament. When current is passed through it, because of the heating effect, it becomes very hot until it starts to glow, giving us light. The melting point is 3380 degrees Celsius. But to protect it, it is put in a glass in which there is nitrogen or argon, which is an inert gas. Sorry, not nitrogen, argon, which is an inert gas. Now, copper and aluminium are also good conductors. They are used for electrical transmission lines. So if you look at the wires if you look on the roads outside, we have got aluminium wires on the road. Copper is a better conductor than aluminium, but it is costly, so it is only used in the wires inside the house. The resistivity of pure metals is very low. Resistivity of pure metals is very low and current passes through them easily, so there is no wastage of energy. Silver is the best conductor, but being costly, it is not mostly used. The resistivity is low compared. Gold is also good and uses electrical circuit, but gold is also costly, so it is very less used. So we have talked about some alloys over here and their uses in electrical circuits. Okay. Now for the next topic of the day, we are going to a circuit. What is a circuit? We have known circuit is the path of electric current. Now there can be two types of circuit, a series circuit and a parallel circuit. A series circuit is in which there is only one path for the current to flow, or current flows in the single path. If you can see the battery, the current is flowing through here, through this. It is flowing through this bulb and then it is flowing through this bulb. So there is only one path for the current to flow. The current flows right through this bulb, then through this bulb and through the circuit. Only one path for the current to flow. While in a parallel circuit, there is more than one path for the current to flow. Current can either flow through this bulb or current can also flow through this bulb. So if I put this switch off, if I put off the switch, this bulb will go off, but this bulb will still work. And if I put this off, then this bulb will work. So what have you understood? What is a series circuit? In a series circuit, there is only one path for the current to flow. So if one bulb fuses off, the circuit will break. While in a parallel circuit, there is more than one path for the current to flow. This is one path and this is the second path. So even if one bulb fuses off, the other will still work. So why are we doing series and parallel circuits? That will be the next topic for the day. Okay, so you can see this is the diagram of a series circuit. How is a series circuit? The battery, from the positive side, the current is flowing. The electrons pass through the first resistance, then through the second, and then to the third resistance. There is only one path for the current to flow. So such a circuit is called a series circuit. Is it clear to you? You can see the current enters through this resistance. Only then it can go to this resistance and to this resistance. Since there is only one path for the current to flow, this is called a series connection. And this is a parallel connection. Again, from the battery, we have got the current flowing. The current electrons flow till here, but now they have got three paths: path 1, path 2, and path 3. So here there are three independent paths for the electrons to flow. Then they all gather over here, the electrons. So you can see there are electrons passing through this, electrons passing through this and this. So there are three paths for the current to flow, or actually more than one path for the current to flow. Such a circuit is called a parallel circuit. Now the mathematics of the series and the parallel circuit we'll do in the next lecture. But again, let us revise what we did here. Today we found out what resistance is. Actually we started with the Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? The current passing through the conductor is directly proportional. The current passing through the conductor is directly proportional to the voltage applied at the ends of the conductor. Means increasing the voltage, the current will increase, and decreasing the voltage, the current will decrease. Then we said what is Ohm's law. So we got this is not there. The Ohm's law was V is proportional to I, and hence we got V equal to IR, where R is the constant of proportionality for the resistance. So what is the resistance? It is the property of the material to resist the flow of charges or resist the flow of current. Next we saw resistance is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. Resistance is inversely proportional to the cross section area. What does it mean? It means when we increase the length, the resistance increases. And what does inversely proportional mean? When we increase the cross section area, the resistance decreases. So combining the two, we got R is proportional to L upon A. And then we wrote R is equal to rho L upon A. So the factors on the resistance depend is the length of the conductor, cross section area of the conductor, and the material of the conductor. It also depends on temperature, but in this formula we do not have temperature. So remember, there are four factors on which the resistance depends: the length of the conductor, cross section area of the conductor, nature of the conductor, and temperature. And the last thing we saw today was series and parallel circuit. What is a series circuit? The circuit in which there is only one path for the current to flow is a series circuit, and parallel circuit is a circuit in which there is more than one path for the current to flow is a parallel circuit. Now the mathematics of the series and parallel circuit we'll do in the next lecture, or maybe we'll do some numericals also for the next lecture. Okay, thank you, and make sure to go through both the videos again, revise it as many times as you want. Once your concepts are clear, then the physics is going to become very, very easy for you. Thank you.